Hello everybody, this is Briefcase here with the first game from the MLG North American League. I recently just bought this ticket and I'm hoping to play catch-up cast in all these games because something that really stood out to me was the fact that there's so many kind of unheard of and unseen of teams in these games and in the league itself. I think there's 5 that had to win a qualifier or something just to get into it. That I'm really excited and hopefully gonna see. Really excited to see if they pull out some cool pocket strats, some heroes you don't usually see. I know over the course of what's it been, a few weeks of this has been going on, I've heard of some pretty interesting bans and picks from them. And not only that, just the team names alone are pretty good, obviously. As you can see here, we're in captain's mode as you do it in tournament play or league play. And we have pbSWAG as the Dire team against Shadowfiend Eats Cake. So I mean, that alone is just terrific. I'm hoping that the play is as creative as the names that I've seen. I haven't seen any of these games yet. I'm really excited though, and here's hoping that it'll be a pretty good show. And all the while, I'm hoping to play catch up on all these games. I realize I'm quite a few behind nowadays, and I've only actually got a couple weeks tops to really finish it off and round it off at the same time. So it's going to be going 2 or 3 games a day for the next probably week and a half, I suspect, just to get caught up, I should say. But let's get back into the actual game where things are really happening instead of just me waxing on about what's going to happen and what's going on. So pbSWAG, of course, banning out your Wisp, your Batrider, your OD. OD being a very, very strong mid that nobody likes to lane up against, especially if you're an intelligence hero. And usually you see him banned or picked up. You see him banned if you're currently running like an intelligence hero mid, like and a really popular one of that, like a Queen of Pain, like Puck. Maybe Invoker, if you're lucky, if you really want to see, if you want to get a good game and get Invoker in there. But OD is just so strong. Pretty much, I don't want to say unwinnable, but very, very strong against some of the most popular mids in the entire meta at the moment. And that's usually why he's either picked up or he is banned outright. Of course, there are a few ways to counter him. I wouldn't say counter, but there are a few heroes that do pretty well against him. Razor's one of them, but anyways, let's get back into actual bans and picks. pbSWAG also banning out the Razor. Not 100% sure why. It doesn't look like their lineup is really dependent or would really get crushed by Razor, but that's alright. Visage getting picked up though, Darkseer as well, and Jakiro. All can play very, very strong supports. Of course, Darkseer is a very good off lane. Visage and Jakiro can be the making of a very, very strong aggressive try. Visage with that soul assumption can just do so much damage early on in a try lane, especially an aggressive one. That can be very, very scary.
10 seconds remaining.
Shadowfiend Eats Cake, I should say, did ban out Alchemist, Nature's Prophet, Anti-Mage, and Naga, however you want to say it. It has banned out all those heroes. It looks like kind of trying to limit the carry pool for pbSWAG. They did pick up a Nyx and a Weaver, of course, both very good at living when you don't think they should. Weaver can be very, very hard to lock down. With Visage stun and Jakiro Ice Path, though, it might not be too hard to actually get him dead. Queen of Pain, though, picking up that nice mid. Windrunner is, of course, a very, very good off laner with her Windrun ability, just making sure that she's got about 3 seconds or so of not getting hurt from auto attacks. And I mean, in the early game, auto attacks are really where you get your main source of damage. And there it is, Shadowfiend Eats Cake, banning out Gyrocopter. Once again, another carry. Doesn't want to give him the Alch. Of course, Nature's Prophet is very, very strong and can semi-carry. Anti-Mage is obviously a carry. Negacion has been played a lot more as a support nowadays, but still though. And now Abaddon being picked up. I think the first time I've ever actually seen him in a professional match. which, I mean, all I can say is I'm very excited for it. And as far as the lineups are looking, I mean, of course, Darkseer has Surge, and Timbersaw is, of course, very mobile himself, but Shadowfiend East Cake seems to be a far more mobile lineup, and I can see why they wouldn't want Nature's Prophet to contend with. Weaver, of course, Sakuchi gives you max movement speed, Nyx will be all over the map, ganking, Queen of Pain, all the blink in the world, and Windrunner, as far as just being a ranged hero, is very, very mobile with Windwalk, and just all of her skills are very long range, generally speaking. Pretty Boy Swag banning out Crystal Maiden at the last pick. I guess just did not want to give them a nice support with a stun. Crystal Maiden is very, very good at just doing exactly what a support does. She's almost like the quintessential support. She gives everybody mana, she has a stun, she has a slow, and if you leave her unchecked, she actually does need to have at least one stun thrown on her at a team fight. So she's almost like a lightning rod for at least one stun, which, I mean, the longer that your Crystal Maiden is stunned, the longer your carry has to actually kill people and pound on them. But let's get down to some actual introductions. We have over here on Pretty Boy Swag, Dark Falco as Timbersaw, Slazel as Luna, Countdown to Jocktober as Jakiro. I'm a Sheep sucks. I'm just going to say I'm a Sheep probably. I'm a Sheep as Visage, and we got Cakes as Darkseer. Down bot down here for Team Radiant, also known as Shadowfiend Eats Cake. Over here it's called NOM though, and that's probably because of the cake eating. You got Knave going bot. Looks some really interesting starting items. 9 tangos. Usually do not see the 9 tangos. Usually you want a nice mix of regen so that you're never constantly at low HP. But I suppose this will work pretty well because I think they assume that Darkseer will be down here. Moshi is Windrunner, and I don't even think I did all the so we got Knave as Nyx, Moshi is Windrunner. Up top we got Bricks as Weaver. Abaddon is No Damon. That's very, very similar. And you got Relic as Queen of Pain. Mid, of course. Queen of Pain going up against Dark Falco as Timber. You've seen a lot of Timber mid nowadays, and it's because with this reactive armor, it can be pretty nice as far as regen is concerned, and he can really sustain in lane against a lot of people who have that early harass, much like Queen of Pain will, I suspect, as well. Visage, though, is going to be picking up this haste rune, and I mean, Pretty Boy Swag with this haste rune, that might be an easy kill mid. Probably not, though. Usually you see Queen of Pains get that early blink just to guarantee a way out. And without the blink, I mean, Shadow Strike and Scream are pretty much useless anyway. But no, Visage opting to go top, being that aggressive try. I'm a Sheep, though, is going to get hit for one. But I mean, this Abaddon Weaver lane is so strong. Weaver, of course, very, very hard to lock down and kill already at the very start. But now with the added health that this shield gives, and the extra burst that it can also give as well, it can just be so difficult for them. Darkseer, I think, realizing that bottom is a lost cause, with this Knave down here, just being ready to kill everything he can. Not to mention, I guess he could spike Carapace if he ever wanted to, but Moshi also pulling all day long, and I think Cake's just realizing that it's probably not going to be the most effective lane for him. I suspect that Knave was very good at denying, and he's just realized he's not going to get the farm he wants. So Cake's now opting to go into the jungle and seeing if he can't get a bit of farm that way. Mud Golems have spawned, though, which of course are the bane of Darkseer's existence. Looks like he has been stacking as well, which of course will be very, very good for him. All he has to do is Ion Shell one of these, and it looks like Dark Falco taking some harass now. He's got his reactive armor level 2 up, but I don't know if it'll be enough. Relic opting to get Shadow Strike higher up, because overall it does do more damage, and of course the armor that Dark Falco will have from reactive armor isn't going to do anything to that magic damage. But in the meantime, we should get out that nice last hits and denies tab for the early game, and just make sure that we really see what's going on all around. Of course, it looks like Queen of Pain winning mid pretty fiercely. It is not a terrific lane for Timber by any means, just because he's a melee hero against a ranged hero. But, I mean, he can hold his own. It looks like he is bottle crowing up as much as he possibly can, opting to use all the charges and not just leave one behind. But now Relic also has a bottle, and with both of them knowing that, scouting the top rune, they'll know that it's bot, but Moshi is there, and this could be some wasted time by Dark Falco if he ever does get his bottle back and he happens to think that Relic has not gone to get it yet. He must be wondering exactly why Relic hasn't left, though, especially if he knows that it's not top. Up top, though, you got Bricks just doing a little bit of damage to Countdown to Jocktober. Not the end of the world. Slizel, though, he's doing fine. 12 last hits. He's not doing too bad. Knave, though, is getting all the farm he could ever want. And this might be a very, very early mana boots on this Nyx Assassin. And, of course, getting all the experience from this lane as well. Moshi is just opting to pull and is still only level 1. Just trying to give this Knave all the room in the world. And more likely than not, just getting him to ganking potential right away. Of course, Dark Falco is now wasting his time on that rune, hoping that it hadn't been picked up. It did exactly like I said. Weaver now does have this shield on him for all the time he could ever want it. Still only level 1 though. Abaddon is not staying in lane too much. Looks like he wants to try to be pulling, maybe getting some stuff. And now realizing that Countdown to Jocktober is here. Bricks, of course, is here trying to pull these creeps away, trying to make sure that these Wildkins do not get in the way. But they shouldn't. I'm pretty sure creeps have aggro priority on enemy heroes. Looks like I'm wrong though. I didn't see that coming. But then, of course, there is this dire sentry right here. Oh, just out of range of this Radiant Observer. The Dire Observer is here as well, but I mean, it only gives you so much. They need one more down, probably right about here, to really cover everywhere, or at the very least possibly right here as well, but that would block the camp. And now it looks like Queen of Pain has been bottle crowing, does not have his bottle at the moment to get this double damage. And like I was saying before, clearly Queen of Pain is winning this lane, has 3 times the last hits of Dark Falco of the Timber, and it's not a great lane for Dark Falco, but as long as he can get 6, he can start harassing down Queen of Pain until she has quite low health. But now with this double damage, that's pretty much the I win button in the mid lane. It gives you basically the option to deny every creep and get every single last hit. Does pop the double damage. Is he going to blink up? He does have Scream at level 3, and I think he might want to cinch that in. But of course, Dark Falco does have the health to maintain this, not to mention the regen from reactive armor, but he doesn't. That's one bad thing about being in mid as Timbersaw. There really aren't too many trees for you to chain to and really get big burst combos off. So you're more about sustaining, leeching that experience until you get to level 6, and once you hit level 6, you might have a chance of bursting them down. Or at the very least, keeping him quite low with that chakram, all the while just making sure that he's really low. And then once he is, and he basically doesn't have the same sustain that you do, doesn't have the regen that you do, and can't kind of keep them as low as you can, then you might go in for the kill. But a little bit of movement up top. It looks like Queen of Pain just tossing out those level 2 Shadow Strikes. I thought he'd be leveling them up higher to see if he could actually do a little bit more damage over time to Dark Falco, but I think he realizes that that's a bad move, and of course Scream of Pain lets you farm much better pretty much throughout the entire game. Dark Falco, though, trying to get those last hits with that, and now Queen of Pain just getting all the runes. This is a nightmare for Dark Falco. He isn't falling, he hasn't given up a kill yet, so nothing is terrible, but all the while, I mean, he's not having a good time. Bricks is top as well. He's also getting denied quite heavily by this aggressive tri-lane, or at least it was aggressive. Countdown to Jocktober, it looks like he's rotating mid, might be trying to get this relic. Dark Falco looks like he was baiting him out, but in comes Countdown to Jocktober, and I think at the last second, Relic sees him and doesn't do anything. And now realizing that Countdown to Jocktober isn't there, they jump on him. Knave is, of course, level 6, did use it, and now the tide has turned up top. There's your first blood. I'm a Sheep does not have the damage to do anything, and that's a double kill now. And that's 2 kills. 1 we got for Knave, and let's see who got the other one. And it was the Weaver, and that Weaver getting that last hit now kind of makes up a little bit for the huge amount of missed farm that he has. at least compared to the other carries. Of course, 35. You want your Weaver to be way, way up there. And now it looks like Moshi is in lane, just trying to get the experience and maybe the farm that they prioritized to Knave earlier. But now that he's gotten that kill, and his Vendetta will be off cooldown again, it looks like he's just going out and doing small little ganks whenever he possibly can. Dark Falco now does have Chakram. There it is. Relic being quite low. Does have Scream available. It might be enough to actually kill him if she had actually gotten it off, but it doesn't look like it. Probably opting to wait till he can blink Scream Sonic Wave, and that will be a guaranteed kill against Dark Falco if he happens to do that. Abaddon is here. Looks like he wants to put a shield on Relic just to guarantee that she doesn't die. Playing it very safe if he does do that. Instead is just putting down a ward. That's fine. Relic now jumping in. Does not jump in. Puts the shield on, but doesn't matter. Isn't going to use that added burst as well. Knave looks like he did use Vendetta on Slazel, but it seemed like there was no follow-up. Wasn't enough damage to kill him. Countdown to Jocktober is here to get the rune. And oh, Relic just can't quite get there in time. Now realizing that it's already been taken by Countdown to Jocktober. And it looks like, I mean, I'm a Sheep is still just pulling things pulling things to all the different little creeps. But of course, Bricks is going to get these, no problem, or at least you want him to. Does indeed, uses Sakuchi to get those 2 kills and get that little bit of extra farm. And now Bricks is not too far behind in the last hits, or at least compared to Timber. Never mind, he is freakishly far behind. I am so wrong. But if we look at the current gold graph and the net worth graph, we see that, yeah, he's far behind, but he's not too bad. He's like 1 grand away. He's not actually on par with Knave, who they have given a huge amount of priority to. Now Knave looks like hiding behind the trees, is going to Vendetta. It looks like he's running over to Countdown to Jocktober, or see if he can't. Slazel is here. Only 1 extra power shot would be required. Getting the stun off. Was power shot going to be enough? It is not enough. Can't quite get it. And he was just hoping that Slazel might cast a Lucent Beam. Of course, that would be a huge misplay by him. Abaddon, though, does not have level 6. Cakes is here, but I mean, Bricks is doing some damage. Cakes, of course, very scary at that level 4 Ion Shell. 90 damage this early on in the game is very scary to these little heroes. Dark Falco, though, continues to Bottle Crow, does not want to lose out on this experience, can use Chakram very easily to farm, not to mention harass. And it's very cost efficient. They recently buffed it to a pretty huge degree. I think it was 125 originally, but now it's 75 damage to do essentially 200 pure damage. And that is just massive. That is such an efficient spell. That is such efficient damage. It looks like Relic in her off time and not staying in lane is just pulling this easy camp. And of course, a very efficient use of time on this one. Relic now, Dark Falco in a little bit of trouble. Relic, of course, does have ult available. And it looks like Dark Falco will barely get away. Relic might have wanted to stick around and probably wanted to get 1 more Scream of Pain off and the Sonic Wave just to guarantee that kill. But still, overall, a very good play by Relic, forcing Dark Falco back, even though with all of these reactive armor stacks up to 8 and getting that regen from it, he's still being forced out of lane, and that's quite good. Not to mention that Relic has been able to sustain in lane against Chakram tosses, looks like by Bottle Crowing as well, which, I mean, if you're in a pub game, everybody hates you for doing it, but it can't be denied that it is a very strong tactic and a probably the best option to maintain in lane, as it gives you just an obscene amount of regen as long as nobody else needs this courier. And Relic opting, yep, not to get any more in Shadow Strike. You usually don't want to see very many more. It scales, I mean, it scales actually particularly well, but you really want it just for the slow, and it's not really the end of the game. Dark Falco, of course, can get out of here. Oh, but does not pull the trigger of that Timber Chain fast enough, and does indeed lose. It looks like they are definitely going on Slazel. That Vendetta and Impale would definitely get him. How is he living? There it is. Does get a hit off. It isn't enough. As soon as he dies, though, Eclipse does fall. Oh, Abaddon, though, does not have level 6 available. If he had, that might have gone a little bit differently. Knave being caught out as well. I'm a Sheep sucks. Just using that Soul Assumption to a huge degree, getting a triple kill there for himself, just doing a huge amount of damage. And now if we look at the last hits and denies, and we look at the kills, getting 3-1, and it looks like Countdown to Jocktober might be just enough, especially if this Visage guy is here but can't do it, misses the stun, but in pops Dark Falco, getting a little bit of revenge for that untimely death mid. And now Bricks is here as well. Does not have the regen to sustain against Dark Falco. Is only level 7 compared to Dark Falco's level 9. Of course, does have time shift, but that, or time lapse, I should say. But beyond that, it is. I mean, Weaver has a very, very hard time against Timbersaw, who now, in fact, does have his arcane boots as well. Slizel trying to pick up any amount of farm that he possibly can, porting bot, but of course Nyx is here, and Vendetta has just come off cooldown. Does not want to tip his hat to Slizel, but with this ward, seeing him, definitely scouting him out, Slizel will know that he is there for sure. And they must know that a ward is around here, seeing as has Slizel. I mean, this is still a very safe position when you know where most of the other heroes are. But it just looks like not too much warding coming up from Team Shadowfiend Eats Cake. Just in general, having a pretty rough time. Slizel is gonna get away though. Knave is here, has not used his Vendetta to get that kill, or even try to get that kill. And now it looks like I'm a Sheep, looking like he's trying to get a little bit of farm up top. Not anymore though. Brix is here though, and will capitalize on this open lane. But now, how many do we have? All 5 bot going down. They're definitely going to be going for this tower. Let's see if the port-ins happen. Does Brix have a TP? He does indeed. There are definitely the possibility of everybody porting in. The Queen of Pain ult is just about to go off cooldown, has not leveled it to level 2. Usually you do see that because of course it just, I mean, it's a very strong spell, but has not leveled it to level 2. Seeing if they can't hold off this 2-on-5. Of course they can't. Moshi will fall to Dark Falco. Too strong. Abaddon is here. I should have said 3-on-5, but that's fine. Knave running around. Abaddon does not have ult yet. Just is made of paper until that happens. I'm a Sheep though is getting hit a little bit, but can't get enough. A Soul Assumption will be huge here. 307 damage with max souls. That is just massive. And now Brix having to time lapse, and Relic, he can, pops the invisibility, so he just can't die. Looks like he's trying to get that last hit on Slizel. Can't. Pops the wand charges. Will Relic get the last hit? He does indeed. And with this, it looks like he's just going to hopefully try to blink to safety and TP away. Can he get it though? He's looking like he's a little bit caught up, trying to get a last kill on I'm a Sheep. Probably should have run down here, popped in here, but I mean, with these familiars, there's absolutely no guarantee of him getting away, giving that, even though it is a small amount of flying vision, that flying vision. So, very, very good trade right there. If we look at the, difference in gold, yeah, originally very, very high. I shouldn't say very, very high. Originally in Radiant's favor, in Shadowfiend Eats Cake's favor, but now dipping down for the Team Dire. It looks like they came out on top there, and now the experience massively in favor of Pretty Boy Swag. Moshi, of course, like a third of his health from one shock from very, very scary. Slizel is here, does have Eclipse ready if they happen to pounce on him, but this creep wave will definitely bungle that entire thing up. Knave is here as well. Vendetta is off cooldown if they ever need to. But, of course, you have Countdown to Jocktober, placing a sentry now, guaranteeing that this will fall, and no funny business really happens. Slizel is here, of course. Eclipse is still up. Isn't level 2 yet, and that's when Eclipse gets really, really strong. Goes from 4 to 8. Oh, no, wait, that's the Scepter amount, isn't it? Yes, it is. Goes from 4 to 7. Still very, very scary. And now, of course, does have Lucent Beam at max level. And it looks like they're just saying, okay, we'll just do a little bit of a trade. If you guys want to take our bottom tower, we'll take the mid tower. We'll get this haste rune on Relic, which, of course, can be very, very scary. But overall, I mean, this Visage is just doing so much work with Soul Assumption in team fights. Not even sure how much it does. Max Soul 6. Soul damage 65. So what we're looking at. 130 times 3, 390? 390 at max souls, and almost like, and on a 4-second cooldown, just a massive amount of front-loaded damage can be done here. And now everybody rotating top, or I should say mid, everybody rotating mid just to try and get this other tower. Dark Falco can tank towers pretty effectively, but he's opted not to. Of course, Chakram now doing 280 pure for a petty 125 mana. Still just a huge amount. Clearing out these trees a little bit, trying to get maybe a little bit more vision. Darkseer coming back, but Relic is top. Has not used his haste rune yet, which will almost guarantee him a way out, considering that Pretty Boy Swag does not have too much stun, admittedly. They have maybe a Jakiro. They got a slow there. But overall, that's about it. And now Brick's also capitalizing on the fact that they've all grouped up, and I think this is a bit of a misplay by pbSWAG, I have to admit. I mean, they've all grouped up, they've tried to take this tower, they can't really take it, and it was only against 3 or so. Relic now is run in, everybody opt in to get that extra armor and run in as well, trying to do this, using a smoke gank as best as they possibly can. Abaddon can be a little bit more ballsy now, I should say. No Demon can be a little bit more ballsy now. I'm a Sheep getting caught out, does get stunned, does get the shackle. That's a pretty long one and will fall, but will it be for nothing? Does indeed. Does not get anything for it. Relic is now chasing Slizel around. Of course, Eclipse is off of cooldown, and if Slizel goes in, that is a guaranteed kill. Or I should say, if Relic goes in, that is going to be a guaranteed kill for Slizel. Will this hit? It will land. Just doing a little bit of harass, but that's a-okay. Dark Falco now. Looks like he's just getting up his magic wand. Very, very good item on Timbersaw, of course. Darkseer has gotten his mech. I'm not really sure when he got that. Not paying too close attention to all the items here. Countdown to Jocktober is just supporting as best as he ever can. Getting Gauntlets of Strength. Probably going to turn that into an urn. You usually want to see at least one urn every single game, as it's just too efficient. And now they know that he's here. That is definitely a Dire. Dire, is it? I can't see on the map here. I should really check it and wait, but I can't tell. Almost certainly that is... Yeah, it's the red, of course. Dire knowing exactly where Knave is pretty much at all times. And now we got Relic going down here. Gonna pick up this invisibility. It might be of a pretty good use, honestly. Slizel getting hit a little bit. Going for that early BKB, which against this lineup, you pretty much want. The only really strong melee, or I shouldn't say melee, physical damage dealer is Weaver, and he doesn't really get rolling too well until he gets a pretty good amount of farm. Looks like Weaver also going BKB. Understandable against Timbersaw, very, very strong. One of the only trees left. Dark Falco does get hit. Big scream on Cakes and I'm a Sheep. Cakes does pop the mech, almost saves I'm a Sheep. Oh, popping those wands, using Soul Assumption. Bricks does not fall. He isn't dusted, but I think that they did have vision for a second there, stunning as much as he can. Countdown to Jocktober is here. No Demon has popped his ult, but Countdown to Jocktober will fall. And with that, you're missing out. That is a 3-for-0 for Shadowfiend Eats Cake. Oh man, I keep spacing on Shadowfiend Eats Cake as a name. I just look up, I'm like, that's not the acronym I need. pbSWAG, of course, pbSWAG. Easy peasy. And for a second here, can we just talk about these flags and this little symbol here? I mean, I'm not sure if I love it or hate it. I guess I'd like to see the Pretty Boy seen a little bit more. Slizel, of course, does not have... It looks like he's opting... Oh, no, can't quite get it. And with that, of course, Relic will get the kill. A very easy kill for him, knowing that Eclipse is off cooldown. He basically has free reign to just run in and murder him as much as he wants. Of course, did have Orchid as well, amplifying that damage, making it all the sweeter. I'm a Sheep, though, running around, supporting, you know, as an Enigma does, getting every ward once in a while. You actually don't need too many different boots as Visage, and usually you see maybe Grave Chill level 1, and then you get a higher level Gravekeeper's Cloak, just so you have that a little bit more of sustain within a fight or that sort of thing. But I mean, Medallion of Courage will be enough, along with Gravekeeper's Cloak, to definitely keep him alive a little bit longer. And Weaver looks like he's opting to go, BKB as his first kind of big item. And I mean, I understand it, really. There's nothing that the opposing team, they don't really have a very strong damage dealer, unless you're talking about Luna. But just like Weaver, Luna takes quite a long time to really get going. And, of course, the added damage, or I should say the added health that this Ogre Club and BKB in general will give this Weaver. Will give him, you know, he probably won't get bursted down. It'll help him not get bursted down before he ever does get the BKB, but I think that's the only way he's actually going to survive in these team fights. So I think quite a good pickup by him, considering the opposing lineup. Of course, Timbersaw just decimates Weaver with his pure damage. Not to mention these soul assumptions that are getting thrown out all day long. They're targeting directly Weaver. He is a very squishy hero. They don't have a really good amount of lockdown to really get him, but that's a-okay when it comes right down to it. Slizel trying to pick up as much as much farm as possible. Oh man, that was a hard one for me. And it's just, I mean, look at Relic's farm. He is doing terrifically. If we look at the current gold and net worth graph, he is just miles above anyone else. 10,000. He is 4,000 higher than the next leading, which is Darkseer, and that's not really where you want to be with your carries. Slizel, there is, of course, TP's a very good counter to Queen of Pain. Might have been able to kill him. Slizel does not have very much health. If he had popped it, a little bit of a risk though. If he had just sent it out 1 second too late, that would have been just a wasted ult for nothing. And possibly just waiting to see if he couldn't get maybe more people in it and waiting for a team fight to happen. I mean, that cooldown is pretty long. 2.25 minutes. It's a pretty long cooldown for an ult. You compare it to something like Vendetta where it's 70 seconds or 60 seconds or what have you. But Relic getting all the runes he could ever want. Moshi is doing fine, just fine. Has opted to get a ring of health and is clearly going pipe. So once again, going for that kind of anti-magic items. And I think really playing against the lineup they've been faced against. Of course, Darkseer's stuff is all magic, except for once the illusions do come around, they do what are we going for here? They do physical damage, but I mean, Ion Shell is not so scary. Vacuum is not too scary. Soul Assumption, there's a lot of damage. Macropyre, most of their damage, even this early on, Slizo with Eclipse, most of their damage is magic, and now it's trying to just make sure that he does die. The Windrunner will get that last hit. Cakes is out of position now, though. Does get shackled, but he does have the backup. Countdown to Jocktober is here to send out those ice paths, and there it is. No Demon getting that urn. Very good, very good item for Abaddon. Just gives him even more healing, gives him the strength that he actually kind of needs, and overall just a very good item. Nyx Assassin has picked up that mechanism as well, and now just it looks like, I mean, quite a bit of support. Bricks now being a very defensive as far as item picks go for Shadowfiend Needs Cake, honestly, when it comes right down to it. And if we look at difference in gold, yeah, Shadowfiend Eats Cake has taken that back from the Team Dire and is just ramping up, as you can see by these 17 kills and 10 against Pretty Boy Swag. If we look at the current gold, who's got a lot? You got Dark Falco here with 2,000. That's actually almost enough. He's about 1,000 away from getting his... Oh, trapped himself in some trees. Not 100% sure how, but he did it, and that's fine, just fine. But he's very close to getting his Bloodstone, which clearly he is going. Usually as, oh, a little bit of action going on here, maybe. Looks like they might want it, but of course they do see them there, the 4 on Shadowfiend Needs Cake, and they're just retreating back to their tier 2. But like I was saying, on Timber, you usually see this. You get an early Arcane Boots as early as you possibly can, because you pretty much all the mana you need until the later game. You pick up your point booster, you get your Vitality booster as well, and then you want to like put a bunch of stuff maybe a little bit farther away from you so that it doesn't turn into a Vanguard, because usually you also have a Stout Shield. But then you get your Perseverance, and you disassemble the Arcane Boots to get the Energy booster, and then with that you use the Energy booster from the Arcane Boots, and you just have simple brown boots, and you use that to actually build this the Bloodstone, and that gives you all the mana you could ever need. It looks like they're gonna get the deny off. No Ice Path falling on anybody, but that's fine, just fine. They do not flub it up. They do just fine. And of course, Timbersaw with Ion Shell is very scary. But it looks like Knave and Moshi just happy to do a little bit of pressure mid. See if they maybe can't get a little bit of damage on that tower. Slazel still does not have that BKB. Is constantly, just absolutely constantly being harassed, being pushed back from lane, or just being straight out ganked and falling, which is really cutting into his farm. There it is. Timbersaw now has his Bloodstone, but I mean, Knave now with his Blink Dagger coming up, and this just turns Nyx Assassin into a very scary initiator, and able very easily just to blink in. It completely changes the way he plays, actually, when it comes right down to it. And not only that is, I think people underestimate just how good of an initiator Nyx Assassin is. He can blink in, stun, usually, I mean, if it's a good stun, at least 2 people, mana burn 1, and all the while, you've probably spiked Carapace as soon as you're in there, almost guaranteeing a 1.8 second stun on the whole team, because who doesn't instantly attack somebody who blinks in to a group of 5? Let's be honest, we've all done it, and if it's a Nyx, and he blinks in, and he uses Spike Carapace, you're almost guaranteed to stun yourself. Bricks, of course, now does have his BKB up as well, or I should say, does have his BKB up, considering that Luna has not gotten it up yet. Brick's taking every little bit of farm that he possibly can. If we look at the net worth graph, we'll see that he is doing not too bad. He's actually eclipsed the entire Dire team, and he's not really catching up to Relic, but Relic is just playing magnificently, I must say. Has his Orchid, got his Orchid, I mean, fairly quickly. He's got his ultimate orb right now. Will more likely than not get it into a sheep stick, as you usually do. Of course, a very, very strong ability with Orchid as well. Shuts down people for about 8 seconds, I believe. Very, very scary. And with that, Timber will probably be able to get killed, seeing as he can't cast anything, and he can't cast anything when you're silenced, cast anything when you're a pig. Nodamon is up top, seeing if he can't maybe farm or stop at least Cake's farm with his shield. Of course, it's not doing too great. Has not had the best farming game in the world. But Dark Falco is here. Doesn't matter. Knave is here. He's got his blink if he ever needs it. Vendetta is level 2 now. Dark Falco is popping in. Are they going to go for it? They are indeed. Slizel is here, but BKB and TP barely gets away. Brick's almost having the damage to do it, but Dark Falco is here as well. He wants to Timber Chain in, but he can't do it. There's nobody around for him. He hasn't thrown a chakram yet. There, now he does. Trying to get them all. Brick's, will fall. Gets Ice Path. Relic is here. Countdown to Jocktober. He really wants this kill. Will he quite get it? Pops his BKB and makes sure he can get away. A nice shackle now on Cakes and I'm a Sheep. You got Dark Falco here trying to kill Knave. Knave does not have anything left. He's got Spike Carapace. Might be able to save him if he can get some nice Spike Carapace blink away. Opting to go for the Countdown to Jocktober area. Not sure why he blinked that way instead of this way. Maybe just too terrified of the tower. This looks like Nodamon is going to fall. He did pop his Orphotic Shield. Doesn't matter, though. And with Borrowed Time off a cooldown, or on cooldown, he is just guaranteed to die. And now, Pretty Boy Swag picking up 3 kills for nothing. Playing very well just there. And I'm sure with that, the graph is going to take at least a little dip back into their neck of the woods. Relic, though, was able to leave. And he, as far as I'm concerned, is really the big picture kind of guy. He's the one with 8 kills, only 2 deaths. His net worth is 14,000. They have not been able to lock him down, and I think that goes back down to the fact that none of these heroes on Pretty Boy Swag have a reliable stun. They do pick up the Roche, though, of course, going to Luna, who does have the BKB, and I mean, his damage is starting to get a little scary. They have stacked the Ancients at least once. Not sure what he's doing here. Just making sure that he doesn't take too much damage. Does not have a Helm of the Dominator. Would probably like to see more Ancient stacks going on, just so that Slizel can maybe pick up the farm a little bit and get back into the game. But overall, I mean, Pretty Boy Swag, some good play just back then. Knave, of course, though, did not... No, he did die as well, blinking right into the Jakiro. And not sure how that went or why he did it, but oh well, it's not the end of the world. And both teams thinking that this is a terrific ward spot. I'm a Sheep. Have you gotten anything amazing? You haven't. You've just been hanging around with your medallion, of course, which of course does do a lot in the game. Of course, making that Roshan drop all the faster as well. Bricks is now porting bottom, just trying to get as much farm as possible. And that looks like it's a little bit of a lull in the game now. Everybody just trying to get their farm up, maybe trying to get into their next big item. Bricks, of course, does have quite the ways left to go to get anything. Relic, though, does have the ultimate orb. Isn't actually too far away from getting a sheep stick. Only, what are we looking at? 1,200, 1,300 gold? And that's it. And, I mean, of course, Queen of Pain is one of the best flash farmers that I know of, using Scream of Pain and blinking around the map. Very, very easy for her to get that 1,200 in a pretty timely manner. It looks now like Timbersaw is getting an Orb Club. I don't know what that could be other than a BKB, considering that Sange is easily one of the worst things you could... I shouldn't say one of the worst, but, I mean, for a hero that pretty much can't attack for, I'd say, a good 40% of any team fight because of Chakram, you probably don't want something that occurs with a chance of whenever you attack. Just saying, just saying. I'm a Sheep farming up as well. Looks like he's going to be wanting to get that 4-staff. He is very, very close. Actually, he's not getting a 4-staff. Looks like, indeed, he's using that point booster. Both of these both of these 10 stat items, and it looks like he's going Ags, which, I mean, I love to see. Who does not want to see more of these little gargoyle familiars running around going nuts? Hopefully getting some chain stuns. I have yet to see, at least in competitive, I have yet to see a Aghanims, Visage, have the three familiars, get all those stuns off, and then from there cast it again and get 3 more stuns off. I would absolutely love to see it, but I mean even that level of micro is pretty obscene if it did happen. Still very excited to see it. Relic though, I mean pretty much does indeed have enough gold to pick up that sheepstick, and I would suspect will opt to just pick it up instead of waiting and making sure that he has enough for buyback as well. Slizel does now have the Helm of the Dominator. You'd think that he would have Dominated Creep just to guarantee some Ancient stacks each and every time, but we'll see how it goes. Darkseer, though, has gotten also the amount of farm he needs to get a Sheepstick, which now could guarantee some pretty big kills. Oh, just barely being out of smoke range just then. Lucky for them. And now it looks like Dark Falco, though, running mid. It looks like they want to push this mid. They know that the Aegis is going to be reclaimed. Aegis? Aegis? I say Aegis. Have my whole life. They know the Aegis is going to be reclaimed fairly shortly, in almost like, I want to say, a minute and a half. And I think they just want Slizel being way up front. He is doing as much damage to this tower as he possibly can, but they should really try for this Aegis. And now they realize they can't really go with it. They want to use the Aegis, that's fine. Slizel is here to do as much damage to bricks as possible, even little chip damage to keep him low. But I mean, just the split push coming out, they realize they can't push that mid, because you have Weaver split pushing all the time. You have Relic split pushing as well. And Relic almost like playing the role of an anti-mage, blinking all over the map, blinking, split pushing as much as possible, getting every little bit of farm that he possibly can. Very, very scary, this Queen of Pain. Level 20, I want to say, is higher level than pretty much everyone. And if we look at the experience graph, or the experience per minute graph, I mean, obviously that is the case. Actually hard to follow around, blinking all over the world. Moshi does have Pipe Up, of course, and Abaddon now has gotten some phase boots. Not particularly scary, but that's a-okay. And wondering to see if Knave will do anything with this Vendetta. A lot of times you see later in games, much like this one I suspect, is that Nyx Assassin, please, like, don't rely on trying to get that Vendetta damage, and don't try super, super hard to get that Vendetta damage. Because overall, I mean, a lot of the times, many, many times, it is far more beneficial to your team or in the fight to just come out of invisibility with a big impale. Maybe getting 2 or even 3 heroes is, of course, a very, very good use. Relic now, microing a little bit, does have Sheepstick, does have quite a bit of unreliable gold. So much of it is unreliable compared to reliable, though. And if we look at, I know there's a way to get buyback status. It's all the way over here. Number I, he does have enough for buyback. So, I mean, he can be kind of a little bit more ballsy if he really wants to. I didn't think this would be enough for buyback, considering that he's quite a high level. But there you have it. Looks like a little bit of lag going on. The whole team, in fact, lagging as well. And 74% packet loss. Everyone is lagging. It seems like everyone's having quite a rough time here. Just gonna pause it and let's see if anything comes of it. Really, MLG Studio looks like they're trying to fix it. Message is lagging too, lagging as well. But now let's take this little bit of downtime to look at the items. Visage has finished his Ag Scepter as well, making it so he's got 3 familiars now. Very, very scary. Can do a huge amount of pain if used well. Something that a lot of people don't know is that familiars, they actually regen their attack damage over a certain amount of time, not simply after crashing down and stunning. They actually regen, I can't remember how much. I think it's every 15 seconds they get one of their little like stacks, which is, you know, a few damage. I think it's every 15, maybe 30 seconds. It's of course very, very inefficient to do so. You might as well just throw them on the ground. But if you're really saving those stuns, they will actually regain a very, very small amount of damage. But he does have his Ags now. We got Timbersaw. He's got his Bloodstone, and last time I cast it, I actually saw a Timbersaw use his Bloodstone to actually sacrifice himself now. It's the first time I'd ever seen it. I was really happy to see it, though. But it does have BKB as well. Cake's opting not to have BKB. And Jakiro, Countdown to Jocktober, also not having a BKB. Of course, though, everything counts on Slizel. It looks like, did he just drop? Yeah, the Aegis was just reclaimed, did not drop it. But I mean, not a particularly large amount of farm for their carry. Only at 10,000, the Timbersaw actually has more than him, and that is not where you want to be. Of course, the Weaver not having too much more farm than him, but really I'm comparing them all to Relic, and Relic is just picking up every little bit amount of farm that he ever could want. 2,600 in the bank, already has BKB, Sheepstick, and his BKB is still 9 seconds long. It's just terrifying. And now it looks like they're trying to set up a pretty nice little gank on the Weaver, on Bricks, if they ever can. Weaver has picked up a Desolator, which of course will now make him a little bit scarier, not to mention for his team, but they don't have too many other right clickers, so when it comes right down to it now, Slizel, I think that they must know that this is here, but never mind, Bricks does get sheep, but he does pop his BKB, time-lapse as well. BKB actually lasts over onto you well after you've time-lapsed, which I didn't quite know, and now a failed smoke gank. But I mean, Shadowfiend Eats Cake must have known that was coming, all things considered. Slizel pushing bot, little overextension by him, and while doing that, nobody else on pbSWAG was seen anywhere. You don't usually see too many normal couriers nowadays, but there it is. You don't see it too often, but I mean, I'm into it. Slizel now has just spent all his money picking up that Eagle song, wants to go for an instant butterfly, obviously. Bricks might be going to just counter that right away and get an MKB, probably saving up enough money to see this Eagle song. It's still hidden, it doesn't really matter though. It's not one of those very high impact items until you turn it into a butterfly, and then that evasion just means so much extra effective HP for Slizel, who of course is kind of like wet paper all game. Bricks now doing exactly what Weaver does best, hanging out bot, just guaranteeing a lot of farm for himself, making sure that he never dies, and I don't think he actually has died too often. If I look at the stats over here, how often have you died? 2-3, nah, 3 deaths, not too bad by any means, but he's doing exactly what Weaver does, and Weaver is very good at staying in lane all day long, and then if they do have to, they have to commit usually at least 2 heroes. In this lineup, at least 3 though. pbSWAG has to commit at least 3 heroes to killing this Weaver. And of course you just Sakuchi out, and everything's fine, or they do actually get the stuns off and all that, and you just time-lapse back and then Sakuchi out, and it can be a huge pain in the ass to actually kill Weaver in these sorts of situations, especially with a team that doesn't have too much disable. And as we saw earlier, that was a 5-man smoke gank. Cakes did indeed get Scythe of Ice off, got the sheep off, or I should say the pig off, and turned Bricks into a little piggy. They got a lot of damage onto him. But they only took him to about half health because the other team couldn't quite keep up with him. I think he actually got to Sakuchi off before he got pigged, which still leaves you at maximum move speed. And with that, they still couldn't get him, and it was almost 5-on-1, almost. Of course, Relic was there waiting in the wings, and now did know he was there. Slizel getting caught out, has been silenced, does have BKB available if he wants to live. Pops it kind of unnecessarily. Bricks now does get stunned. Look at these huge combos now. Countdown to Jocktober along with Cakes. Some really big plays. It's almost not enough though. Relic pop in a little bit of regen. Getting those wand charges running in now. Wants to pop in. Getting those kills though. Is going to be there. Just waiting for Orchid Malevolence to pop down as well. Dark Falco is here. Does have a lot of regen available to him. But of course, as a Timbersaw, you can almost never catch a Queen of Pain. Unless you yourself have an Orchid, and that just seems like a criminally inefficient waste of time. You got Knave missing his stun, but overall a very good trade for Shadowfiend Eats Cake, of course, getting the carry. The only one that did not die was Timbersaw. And I mean, Weaver did fall, Abaddon as well, but of course Relic, now, he must just be massive. 21,000, 22,000 as soon as this camp is dead. 22,000 net worth. I mean, 9,000 more than the next highest guy. just terrifyingly far ahead. Visage now picking up a Gem of True Sight just to get that Weaver. Nobody else has an invisibility. Oh no, wait, I suppose that Nyx does. My bad, forgetting who was on each team. Countdown to October still opting to have only brown boots, but now it looks like Slizel trying to solo this Roshan with the help of these little familiars. Can't do it though. He needs a little bit of stun. He probably needs the liquid fire attack slow as well. And now, I mean, Shadowfiend eats cake must know this is happening. Possibly try to go in with Weaver. Was that too far away? Are they gonna? No, it still lashes on just enough range as well to actually get some of them. Dark Falcon though, but they know it's happening. And can they do anything about it? Checking just the health of Roshan, trying to decide if they want to go in. Relic is here. Will he be able to snipe it? Does not. Did not have ult available. With Sonic Wave, might have been able to. But with Eclipse being there, having, what is it, 10 beams available, and not to mention Timbersaw's AoE, and the combined damage that Cakes and Countdown to Jocktober can do with the Vacuum, Ice Path, Macro Pyre, which is just a terrifying combo and is so strong. This Jakiro Darkseer combo, it can be really scary to engage in team fights for a team Shadowfiend Eat Cake. Getting that one little power shot over on Slizel, no worries. Now Dark Falco is here, just trying to harass a little bit. Indeed, what was that, 340 damage, easy peasy for a mere, what are we looking at? 175. A bunch of piglets running around. It can't be enough though. Cakes does get it, but it wasn't enough. Vacuum could not vacuum them into the wall, but that's fine, just fine. And now Dark Falcon running around like mad. Relic not having an Aegis, but that's fine. Slizel did indeed popping that Eclipse, but most people having shields or BKBs, a very ineffective Eclipse. Relic did fall eventually. A beautiful shackle shot, getting both heroes, nothing else. Dark Falco is here trying to clean up, does get the Windrunner, but he's gonna fall. There's no way he's getting away from this one. And Relic is here as well. Does commit suicide with the Bloodstone. That is the first time I have ever actually seen it in competitive play. Before, it was just on a nice little pub game that was really fun to watch anyway. But now, with this huge team wipe, Relic of course did buy back, has gotten the Monkey King bar himself, now playing as like a carry Queen of Pain, and now, I don't even think that he has Butterfly yet, does not. Still needs, what do you need for Butterfly beyond this? He still needs his Talisman of Evasion. Oh, does get the stun, does get the slow. Macropyre, Ice Path, doesn't want to let him fall. Dark Falco though is going to fall. MKB just does too much damage, and now Relic just being the carry that this team needs. Overall, Weaver has been more of an annoyance than a carry and still hasn't fully gotten to his stride. Has not opted to get Lincoln Sphere. Kind of understandably as well. There's maybe only a few targeted spells. There's only 2 targeted spells on pbSWAG that could ever actually pop Lincolns. So I can completely understand why he's opted to not get it right away. Cakes is doing fine, just fine, but now that must be a massive swing. 10,000 gold difference for the Radiant team. We're looking at about 20,000 experience difference in favor of Shadowfiend Eats Cake. Man, I don't know why I have such a hard time with that friggin' name, Shadowfiend Eats Cake. It's probably just because it's very long, it's not what I expect, it doesn't match the acronym. pbSWAG just rolls off the tongue, you know. But, oh well. It also looks like pbSWAG might have some better banners than their opponents. I'm just saying, a little bit of customization, no matter what it is. I can appreciate that. Bricks now. Most likely than not, I really suspect, doubting. Then again, you know, he might go Scatty as far as I know, gives him the survivability, of course, and of course the slow. But I don't want to say it's in the bag for Shadowfiend Eats Cake, just because of the team fight is so strong for pbSWAG. If they can get a huge Wombo combo off, that'll be it. And I think they both know that they're just waiting here. They must. Slizel's here. No Demon running in, just testing the water, seeing if everything's fine, just fine. Has picked up a Vlad's for his team's armor, but not really doing too much, just testing around as well. Of course, is just never, pretty much never scared of dying with borrowed time. I don't think they have any nukes that do a full... Oh, big shackle now landing on Slides while getting caught out. There's lots of stuns falling on him. It's not enough, though. Ice Path with Vacuum. Still not enough. Cakes will fall. Relic is here. Pops the BKB. And now he just is the best right clicker on the entire team. Dark Falco is going to fall for sure. There's no way he's getting away. Brick's running around crazy as well. 3 for 1 at the moment. I'm a sheep as well. And, I mean, that might be game. If we look at the buyback statuses for Team Dire, absolutely none of them have it. And being down for 40 seconds, pretty much the big players. I mean, that might be it. Slizel still does not have Butterfly. Not that it would ever matter. Oh, no. Weaver has opted to pick up his Lincolns, as you usually do get on Weaver, mostly because it's amazing. And I wasn't sure about Scatty because I'm not 100% sure how Scatty modifies with Geminate Attack as well as another one. I know on ranged heroes, Scatty will stack with other unique attack modifiers, or maybe not others, but I think it does stack with only lifesteal. Possibly that's what I'm thinking of. But I know in Dota 1 there's a lot of weird mechanics that went on with Geminate Attack and Scatty, so I was just wondering. But either way, it looks like Pretty Boy Swag trying to stall as much as they can. This will be... There is a reinforce going on for them. Relic really does want this, though. Pops the BKB just to make sure he gets it, and of course can blink away. Nothing going to happen. Cake now vacuuming. Does not get them all in the Ice Path. Knave wants to do more. Can't. Is completely out of mana, though. Nodamon is here as well, doing a little bit of damage, but it's not quite enough. Moshi is running around all crazy. Relic is here doing lots of damage to Dark Falco, but, I mean, he should be very wary. Has been silenced the whole time. One spell, though, will do it. Countdown to Jocktober. Bricks looks like he wants to go in on him. Will probably get him. Is going to get stunned. It isn't enough, though. Moshi is here as well, and now it looks like Relic being taken very well cared for by Nodamon at the moment, giving him all the shields and all the miscoils in the world. Of course, miscoil, a very, very strong spell to actually cast on your teammates, because the 250 magic damage or heal doesn't get reduced. It's 250 strat, and no fooling, that's a 5-second cooldown. That is a huge amount of heal that he can kind of sustain. And now there's the GG, and the first game in this series will go to Shadowfiend Eats Cake over Pretty Boy Swag in the MLG North American League. So stay tuned. I'm going to be casting hopefully the whole league unless something sort of horrible comes up. But here's hoping it won't. So this has been Briefcase bringing you game 1 of this however many game series. I'll see you guys next time.